Thanos defeated by a woman? Yeah, right. Yeah, you're done for, buddy. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another new release review, and for today we will be covering Captain Marvel. The story follows Carol Danvers as she becomes one of the universe's most powerful heroes when Earth is caught in the middle of a galactic war between two alien races. I will say this before I hop in the review. I am aware of all the controversy going around. I'm just gonna say that I went into this movie with an open mind. I didn't think of anything else besides I was just going to see a Marvel movie. Controversy, backlash, all that nonsense aside, this is strictly about the movie, nothing else. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. The first positive is all the leads in the movie. They all gave great performances. Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, now, we already knew that was great. We've seen him plenty of times. Ben Mendelsohn, he plays a great villain. He's like the lead Skrull Talos in this one. He's kind of being typecasted as the villain from now on, but hey, it's working, so it's fine with me. And Brie Larson, the big one. The first like 20 minutes, half an hour, she did feel pretty wooden to me, but by the end of the movie, I was totally on board. I do not believe that she was miscast, and she did a great job aside from that first little bit. And of course, who could forget Goose, the cat? Total scene stealer. I'm not gonna go any further than that. Loved that cat.
Aren't you the cutest little thing?
Next on the positives is the visuals of this movie. I mean, it's a Marvel movie, it's got a big budget, but of course, the galactic visuals, the big explosions, the war stuff, the superhero stuff, great as always. A few moments that it's a little wonky, but for the most part, visuals are stunning as always. Next is the fun to be had and the humor. The humor, spot on as it is always in Marvel movies. There were a few moments, again, like in other Marvel movies, that they kind of cracked a joke or did something that was funny or comedic, when I felt it should have been a bit more of an emotional moment, and you know, I'm just kind of used to that from Marvel movies now. And then the fun to be had. It's a superhero movie. If you literally just turn off your brain and watch the screen, watch the explosions, watch the superhero stuff, and just have fun, there's a lot of fun to be had in this movie. Next is the nostalgia and the tie-ins. Set in the 90s, the 90s nostalgia is in full force in this one. I was having an absolute blast. Being back in Blockbuster was one of my favorite moments of the movie. I haven't been there since I was a kid. That was fantastic, and the tie-ins to the rest of the MCU were done very carefully and very well. I was on board with all the tie-ins. I thought they were pretty neat, and I enjoyed picking them out. Next is I just want to point out that the second half is a lot better than the first half. I will get to that more in the negatives, but the first half, not great. Second half is pretty solid entertainment. And next is the end credit scenes. Yes, scenes, there are multiple. The first one got me absolutely even more pumped for Endgame, and the last one, it made me laugh. And lastly, on the positives, and this one just absolutely warmed my heart and almost brought a tear to my eye, and that is the touching Stan Lee tribute. It takes place at the very beginning of this movie. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It was just so Stan Lee, to the best of my knowledge. And of course, he does have a cameo in this as well, and it just brought a huge smile on my face. It was superbly done with so much respect, and I absolutely loved it. Now for the middle ground, and that's just something I wanted to point out because so many people on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube and everything were saying, oh, look out, Thanos. Thanos is frigged, for better lack of a word. And I honestly don't really get that from this movie. She's strong, she's a powerful Avenger, she's gonna kick ass in Endgame, I'm sure, but there are like multiple other Avengers that are like a lot stronger than her, like Thor, way stronger. Scarlet Witch, way stronger. Vision, probably stronger. And I don't really see how Thanos is so screwed because of her. And now for the negatives. Firstly is that the movie does get off to a slow start. Like I said, the second half is a lot better than the first half. It starts off pretty clunky and it starts off pretty slow, I'm not gonna lie. And like I said, first half, so that's a whole first hour of this movie. It's kind of a drag, which really sucks because the second half is really entertaining. So if it would have kept up that momentum, momentum through the entire movie, I think I'd be ringing a different bell here, but from where we stand now, the first half of this movie, I really wasn't digging it a whole lot. Next is something that just bothered me, and that's the fact that the song choice in this movie felt so poor. I mean, you're in the 90s, the 80s like just happened, you have so many amazing songs that you could load your movie with and have everyone riding the nostalgia train beginning to end, but they just didn't. Like, there was not many songs in it at all to begin with, and the few songs that they did choose, kind of random songs that I didn't really care for. And next is a pretty typical Marvel trope as well, and that is just the bland villain. Sometimes they do it, right? Sometimes they get it. Thanos, we had the build-up, of course. Loki, we had a bit of build-up. Every now and then they'll give a great villain in one shot, like Killmonger, but you just didn't feel it with this movie. Villain, totally bland once again, so yeah, big ol' negative for that one. And next is a big one, and that is the very odd and unsatisfying storytelling that goes on in this movie. I understand what they were going for. On paper, this sounds like a great idea, but on paper, in execution in this movie, not so well done. It feels choppy, a lot of it feels out of place. It feels like you're watching different parts of the movie where they should have been somewhere else. The story is also extremely generic. Second to last is the fact that there are a few twists in this movie, and like, none of them landed for me. I felt there was a terrible misuse of the scrolls. I'm not going to go any further, but yeah, there's a few twists in this movie that didn't land, and I felt the scrolls were terribly misused. And now, absolutely last, but certainly not least, is the pacing in this movie. Very slow start, but aside from that, even moments later on in the movie, when it's supposed to be all entertaining and big explosions and cool superhero stuff, the pacing does bring it down quite a few times. It could have been a little more fleshed out, had a bit more of a flow to it, had those character moments feel like they were earned and feel like they had more of a purpose to them. All that being said though, guys, all the controversy aside, all this, that, what do I think? If you're going into it thinking you're gonna hate it, you're probably gonna hate it. If you go in with an open mind, there is definitely fun to be had. So I'm going to be giving Captain Marvel a 7 out of 10. If you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, what were your thoughts on Captain Marvel? Be sure to check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. Well, the only thing that I really got out of this movie is the fact that me and Toothless both use the same method for flirting.